Hi, welcome back. This is Sue, and today I'll be doing a review of Breathe by Sarah Crossan. This is a YA dystopian novel being published by HarperCollins Children's Books, and will be due for release in October of 2012. First of all, let's talk about this beautiful cover. Unfortunately, this is a black and white illustration. Do see this on Goodreads because it is really quite beautiful. And as you can see in the background, there is a pod there with a city inside. And in the color version, there's this beautiful purple glow that comes off of that. And then in the foreground, there's three figures, and they're crossing this quite desolate, dry, cracked ground. And this cover beautifully describes what takes place in this story. So, on to the story. Sarah Crossan's created a world here where, once again, human population is screwing up the planet. Overpopulation has led to a lack of food. So the government has had to find a way to grow more food, and that has led to massive deforestation. The forests are being plowed up to make way to grow more crops to feed all of these people. Of course, no trees, deplenishment of the oxygen levels in the air. That's okay for a while, living off the oxygen provided from the ocean, but eventually the oceans start to die, and something's got to be done. Enter the Breathe Corporation. They find a way to manufacture oxygen and pump it into these pods that are created, and everyone moves into them. And of course, now you've got a government controlling literally the air you breathe. So like a typical dystopian society, they control everything. Within these pods are sort of class divisions. The closer you live to the edge of the pod, the more sunlight you get in. You're afforded more oxygen. You're afforded more privileges. They get more, like I said, more oxygen. They get oxygen tanks. They can play sports, all sorts of things. That the people closer into the center, where they're living in these tall apartments. There's barely any sunlight. They have stewards that walk around there, watching their every move. If you're walking too fast, you get fined because the faster you walk, the more oxygen you breathe. So you shouldn't be moving more than 3 miles per hour. No sports. Literally everything's controlled. Your oxygen levels that are pumped into your home are monitored. So if you're using more oxygen, you get taxed more. Even children are strapped to their cribs so they don't move around too much and use up more oxygen. So it's quite a controlled society and pretty nasty. This story is told from 3 main points of view. And each chapter is labeled with that main character's name so you know whose point of view it's focused on. And our main characters, as you see here, are Bee, Quinn, and Alina. Now Bee and Quinn live in the pod and they're friends. Quinn is what they call a premium. He lives on the outer skirts of society, of the pod rather, and lives in a better class. He has much more privileges than his friend Bee. Bee lives closer to the center. She would like to be a premium and hopefully move her family up to that status. And there's some leadership program she can try to enter to do that, and that's what her main goal is, to give a better life for her family. Yeah, and also Bee has a crush on Quinn, but he just doesn't seem to know it. To him, he's just a friend. Then we also have Alina. Alina is a member of the Resistance, and she's also living within the pod. And due to some events that take place early on in the story, she needs to get out of there. And she runs into Quinn and Bee, who are planning on a sort of a camping trip outside of the pod. And you're allowed to do this. Quinn's able, because of his status as a premium, to get oxygen tanks and things like that. And they're planning on like a camping trip right outside. So she manages to convince Quinn, who happens to have a crush on Alina, to sneak her out of the pod, past security and everything. And they do manage this. And once they're on the outside, Alina's planning on going her own way to meet up with the Resistance. But Quinn is concerned and wondering what's her plan, what's she up to, and convinces Bee to follow Alina. And so their paths have now crossed, and they're off to the Resistance headquarters. Along the way, you meet some other characters. There's Maud. She's a drifter who lives out in the middle of the wastelands. And Petra. Petra's like the leader of this Resistance group that Alina's part of. I did not like this character one bit. I can understand her suspicion of Bee and Quinn. She thinks that maybe they're undercover agents for Breathe, and maybe trying to find out where their headquarters are located. But she never lets up for one bit. Even after Alina says, no, these are my friends, they helped me. she never once changes her attitude towards him. She's just really, really mean on the point of cruelty, threatening almost to kill them. So I didn't like this character one bit. I thought Bee and Quinn were interesting characters and pretty well developed, and Alina too. She's pretty hardcore at first, but kind of lightens her attitude towards these two people that have been helping her. There's some other side characters that you meet. They're not as well developed, I think, as the main three characters, which was a little disappointing. I'd like to find a little bit more about them. And I'd have to say, when I was about 3/4 of the way through this book, we've escaped the pod, we've met with the resistance, then we go back, and then we go back to the resistance. I seemed to find that I was spending a lot of time just kind of wandering through these wastelands, and I wasn't really getting anywhere. I didn't understand where this plot was going. The resistance didn't seem all that well organized, I'd have to say. They weren't prepared. Of course, the government's looking for these pockets of people to break them up. Their main goal, I mean, is just literally to grow trees, bring the earth back to the way it was. And I don't understand why even the people living in these pods weren't understanding this. Why would they not try to grow as many trees as possible? Why wouldn't they try to change this situation that they're in some manner? It just seems a little odd. I just didn't think this that the plot worked as well as I really hoped, or it was going anywhere. My main disappointment with this, I would have to say, though, is the ending. I just never felt there was an ending. I don't mind cliffhangers, when there's going to be 2 books or 3 books or whatever, and I have seen on Goodreads an untitled sequel to this one, so presumably there was a follow-up to it. But it wasn't even quite a cliffhanger, per se. It just didn't have a good build-up to one, like this saying, I've got to find out what happens next. It was sort of like, okay, well, we'll do this then. Well, yeah. I wasn't satisfied with the ending. So, overall, good idea, great cover, pretty good character development for the 3 main characters. Like I said, the world development was, I think, what I liked the best, but overall, I could only give this 3 stars. I just didn't think that the plot was resolved enough that I could see what was going to happen, and the resistance wasn't strong enough. It wasn't enough to carry me to want to necessarily read the second book. So that was a little disappointing. So overall, I'll give this 3 stars. I would say, give it a try, see what you think about it. Maybe it was just me. I lost the plot somewhere. Just didn't pick it up. So give it a try, see what you think. Overall, like I said, 3 stars for me. Thanks for watching.